the big misconception is that you need to start big. I think you can start smaller. I mean, there are business plan competitions. You don't have to have this kind of super detailed plan right from the start, but you can build incrementally, and you can develop, let's say, your bigger plan and the bigger project and the venture kind of as you go. That's maybe a piece of advice.
Preparing for this conversation was genuinely interesting. I wasn't just reading research papers, I was reading the journey of someone who has spent years trying to answer one fundamental question. How do organizations continue to grow when the world around them keeps changing? The journey has taken today's guest through digital business, innovation, leadership, entrepreneurship, and more recently, some fascinating work on community-centric organizations. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of School to Startup, brought to you by Tracxn, a private market intelligence platform that's supporting the global university ecosystem for over 12 years. Through our university partnerships, we work with institutions driving innovation and entrepreneurship, and this series highlights the academic leaders making that happen. I'm Harish, your host today. Joining us today is Professor David Wagner, Professor of International Business and Digital Business, Academic Director of the Doctor in Business Administration, and Vice Dean for Research at Munich Business School in Germany. Professor Wagner, he has dedicated his career to understanding how businesses innovate, adapt, and create value in an increasingly digital world. Through his research, teaching, and industry collaborations, he has helped shape the way organizations think about innovation and future of business. Professor Wagner, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you with us on School to Startup today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and thanks for the thorough preparation.
Thank you very much. And before we walk and talk about your research and innovation, I'd love to know the person behind the professor. Was academia always the plan?
No, it wasn't. To be honest, a straight answer. I think I've actually bounced forth and back between academia and business repeatedly throughout the years, and I think that's made the journey a bit more rewarding for me because obviously both fields inspire themselves, and well, that way I had the chance to actually learn from each of them and kind of bring what I learned back to the other field. So yeah, I kind of went into the world of economic development, international economic development, right after my bachelor's degree. Then, after my master's degree, went back and worked with a software company and technology consulting, and yeah, then kind of did the PhD. And even after the PhD, there was a period where I worked again, and then came back to Munich Business School and became a professor. And in fact, it's an institution that appreciates this kind of dual background, the dual experience, and many of my colleagues have similar backgrounds. So I think it's an environment where, yeah, where it's rewarding to have been both in academia and in business.
Interesting. Yeah, I noticed you have received both the teaching award and the research award at Munich Business School. Now, those are two very different achievements. So I have to ask you, which is harder, keeping students engaged or convincing journal reviewers?
Fair question. And I think both are challenges, to be honest, and tough challenges. I mean, to keep students engaged, you kind of have to speak at eye level, find ways to make things interesting, to make abstract problems, academic problems interesting to young folks that may not realize this is a big issue or a big problem. And I do thoroughly enjoy kind of the interactions. I think I've developed my own approach over the years to kind of make that work. And of course, kind of pushing research at the same time, trying to stay engaged with industry, to collect data, to write up papers and so on, go through the review process is another story. Yeah, but both are, I think, interesting ways of engaging. Yeah.
Okay. And one thing I noticed while reading your work is that although you have researched digital business, innovation, leadership, and communities, they all seem connected. If someone asked you today, what problem has David spent his career trying to solve, how would you answer?
Well, my career hasn't come to a close. I think I'm kind of midway career probably. So I think I've spent some years exploring some things, but there's hopefully more to come in the next decade or two. But I've really been curious about kind of how does digital business change organizations? How does technology change organizations? And how do they respond? How do they develop the capabilities, maybe the leadership models, the transformation capacities to adapt to these technological changes? And I think that's the coherent red thread that weaves through all of my work.
Interesting. And our series is called School to Startup. So I wanted to bring that conversation closer to the student founders and aspiring founders. You've spent years working with students who dream of building companies, right? So what's the big misconception students have about entrepreneurship?
Well, first of all, as a business school, I think we cater to different audiences. And there are some students who are quite happy to go into corporate careers, and that's what they're after. And then there's another fraction of students at business schools, of course, that think about founding something already when they kind of come into the school. And we've got a portfolio of things that we offer to them. But coming back to your question, maybe your main question, kind of what's the big misconception is that you need to start big. I think you can start smaller. I mean, there are business plan competitions. You don't have to have this kind of super detailed plan right from the start, but you can build incrementally, and you can develop, let's say, your bigger plan and the bigger project and the venture kind of as you go. That's maybe a piece of advice.
Interesting. And you have seen Munich Business School evolve over the years. Looking at where it is today, what are you most proud of when it comes to fostering entrepreneurship, innovation, and preparing students for the future?
Well, we've had a big accreditation achievement just last year. So we've been AACSB accredited as a school, which is an important kind of quality signal to the market, as well to students, of course, that want to come and study at MBS. So that's an important achievement. But then in terms of maybe entrepreneurship more specifically, I think it's this portfolio of things that we have. So we have an idea development and startup course where students develop business plans and business ideas and formalize them. We do have our own degree in that space, a master's degree in innovation and entrepreneurship. We do have an MBS entrepreneurship hub for kind of students that are interested in founding ventures. We do work with the local ecosystem in Munich. I mean, there's Bits and Pretzels, a big startup event that MBS students have volunteered for and thereby attended and kind of been immersed in that space. We do work with the local agency that supports startups and provides access to venture capitalists and money funds, which is Space Startup. So we invited people to come to class and present what they do and how their startup competitions work and how they match founders to capital and so on. And ultimately, there's kind of founder talks that we do. So we invite graduates back to class for evening talks to talk about their founder journeys and so on. So I think there's a portfolio of things we do, and well, given we have a degree in that field as well, I think it's a specific focus of Munich Business School, and we try to be credible with different things that we do in that space.
Amazing. And one of the themes that really caught my attention was your work around community-centric leadership. So for someone hearing that phrase for the first time, what does it actually mean?
Well, let me start maybe with an observation. I mean, I've been in the social media and community space for well over 10 years. I've written a number of papers, worked with industry associations. I've done case studies on how organizations approach community. And one, let's say, concern or issue I saw is that community is very often treated as an extension of marketing, and it's often attached to PR and marketing departments. That's where the funds come from. That's how these kind of channels, the communities are managed. What I feel is lacking, but potentially way more kind of fruitful and important, is kind of an overarching community approach that organizations could take, where community becomes kind of the philosophical foundation of how the organization does business. And where community becomes visible in different departments or functions of the business as well. So there isn't just, let's say, a community that the market department runs, but the organization itself considers themselves a community-driven business, and the community approach becomes visible in finance, in HR, in marketing, in different departments, and thereby I think we could also address some of the world's pressing challenges by going into such a community approach, let's say.
Interesting. And we end every episode with the same question. If every student, entrepreneur, and young professional watching this episode today could remember just one lesson from today's conversation, what would you want the lesson to be?
Well, I think we just ended with the community centricity, and I think that's also the core lesson. I mean, that's something that I've worked years towards too. So I think making organizations more community centric, making leadership more community centric, I think would help the world a great deal. So I think that's also my one note and my one lesson here.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Professor. Today's conversation has been a wonderful reminder that innovation isn't simply about technology or the next big idea. It's about curiosity, adaptability, strong leadership, and building communities that create lasting value. Thank you very much again. Thank you for participating in this episode of School to Startup.
Thank you, Harish, for the interview.
And to everyone watching, we hope you enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful as we did. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss another episode of School to Start. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.